everybody, this is Jen from Cookies, Cupcakes, and Cardio.com. Today I'm going to be showing you an authentic Italian dessert called the cannoli. It has a really crisp outer shell and it's filled with a creamy inside. It's like ricotta cheese and whipped cream. It's delicious. Let's get started on this tutorial. To make the cannoli shells, we're going to be needing 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 10 tablespoons of Marsala wine. We need 2 tablespoons of shortening. And in here we have 1 tablespoon of granulated sugar, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and half a teaspoon of salt. Now to make the filling, we're going to need 32 ounces of ricotta cheese, 1 cup of whipping cream, and I'm going to whip it. And we need 1 cup of mini chocolate chips, 1 cup of icing sugar or confectioner's sugar, and 1 cup of granulated sugar. So for the dough, I'm going to be using my food processor. If you want to use a mixer, you can do that. And I'll tell you when to change out your paddle attachment. You'd start with your paddle attachment right now where I'm doing this section. So I'm just putting in my flour into here. We're basically going to put in all of our dry ingredients. And so in goes my cinnamon, my sugar, and my salt. And I'm also going to put in the shortening. So now the shortening, the reason I'm using the food processor instead of the mixer is because I think that it does a better job breaking up the shortening into tinier chunks. So I'm just going to put this on low now, and until it becomes little fine like sand texture, that's when I know it's going to be time to do the next step. So our flour mixture has mixed up. Now I'm going to give you the instructions of the next part because I have to do it while I turn on the food processor and it's really loud. So we're going to add in our Marsala wine while it's running into the chute here. Now you're going to need about those 10 tablespoons of the Marsala wine, and I've been having to add an extra one in order to get the ingredients here to the right consistency to form a ball. So you want to add, after your 10 tablespoons, 1 tablespoon of additional Marsala if needed until a ball forms in our food processor. So I'm going to turn it on and add my wine as needed. So our giant ball of dough has formed. Again, if yours doesn't come together, just add an additional 1 tablespoon at a time of the wine. What I'm going to do now is wrap it in plastic wrap and let it rest for about 1 hour to 2 hours just on the counter. So to roll out the dough, I'm going to be using a pasta attachment. If you don't have a pasta maker or a pasta attachment, you can use just a regular rolling pin, and you're going to want to roll it as thin as you possibly can, which is why I'm using the attachment and kind of cheating, but it makes a really nice thin dough. So I'm just taking a little piece off of my dough, and make sure that you wrap your dough back up, because it will get crusty on the outside. Just gonna move it out of my way. Now I've got my dough here, and what I'm going to do is turn on my maker and then feed it through at the thickest possible distance apart, so it's going to come out fairly thick to start with. Just feed it through, and it's gonna flatten up, and if it catches like this, you just have to keep going through until it no longer catches. So I'm just gonna feed it through like this, and I'm just folding it. I'm just trying to get it to be a nice, real pliable dough. It's just going through each time. It's coming out nice and flat. It's getting there. And once it's really close, I'm going to fold it again. Once it's close and kind of without any holes, that's pretty good. I'm going to turn my thickness so that it's a little bit thinner. So I'm turning my knob up, and this is where it's going to come out nice and thin. Again, if it catches, oh, it's not, that's awesome. If it catches at that point, just keep rolling it through. So I've got my dough here, and now I'm able to cut it out. So with my dough rolled out, I have my oil heating on a pan. So I'm just getting it up to temperature. And I've got a 4-inch cutter here that I'm going to use to cut out my dough. Now you want to use anything between a 3.5-inch to a 4-inch cutter will work best for your cannolis. You can also make little mini ones if you choose, but this is kind of the perfect size for making anything that's a little bit like this. This would be considered a regular size, like a large one. So I'm just peeling my dough away here. Now what I have here is a cannoli form. And what you do with the cannoli form is you just roll up the dough on top of it, and it's a metal tube, and I'll put a link to in the description box about where you can get it. And I'm just taking a little bit of egg white, brushing it on the part there, and then I'm going to fold up the other side. Just kind of roll that up, fold it like that, and then just set it aside. The cannoli forms come in packs of 4, and they're just like little metal tubes, and they work perfectly for what we need to use them for. So I'm going to roll up a couple more, let my oil finish heating, and I'll be back to show you the next step. So I've got my oil set up. I'm using vegetable oil, but you could use canola if you prefer. And I'm heating it up, and I want it to be around like 315 to 325. 325 is kind of on the hot side though. And I'm going to take my cannoli form, and I'm using a pair of tongs, and I'm just going to put it seam side down into the oil. Just gently put it in. And then I'm going to make sure that I just kind of hover my tongs here, because I want to make sure that it doesn't puff up and off, because it tends to have a tendency to want to remove itself from the actual form. And just rotate it so it's cooking on all sides. And you're going to keep doing that until it's nice and golden brown. And I have paper towels set over here to put the cannolis on after. And you want to be very careful because the rod is hot. You can see that's nice bubbles forming up there. And so you want to make sure that you don't touch the metal rod, and you need to let it cool completely once you've got it onto your paper towel. Just going to keep turning until it gets to a nice golden brown, and I will do all of my other cannolis as well, and then we'll work on the filling. To make our cannoli filling, I have my ricotta cheese here in a medium-sized bowl, and I'm going to add in my granulated sugar, and I'm going to add in my icing sugar. And then just using a spatula, I'm just going to stir it up until it's combined. So I've got my sugars mixed in. Now I'm going to add in my whipping cream that I did whip until it's nice and stiff. So I'm just put that in here. And then, just want to get it all the good stuff in there. Then I'm just going to take my spatula and just fold it under and then up and over. So I'm just folding this in. And I'm going to do the exact same thing next with the chocolate chips, but I don't want to like wreck the whipping cream, which is why you fold it, because you don't want to have it break down. It's definitely going to break down a little bit, but you just want to be careful and gentle when you're folding things in. You fold things like egg whites and that sort of thing. Gives your whatever you're making lots of volume. So I've got that folded in, and it will get some more folding once we put in the chocolate chips. So I'm going to just put those in. You can do all chocolate if you want to. I did put some white chocolate in there. I just thought it kind of looked cool. So I'm just folding these in, and then I'm going to put my filling into a piping bag, and it will be ready to fill some of our cannolis. So there you go, everybody, how to make these wonderful homemade cannolis. I've filled up all of the shells with the cream filling, sprinkled a little bit of icing sugar on top just to give them a little bit more beauty. Not that they need them, they're so wonderful. So thanks for watching. Remember, I have a cookbook for sale, Happiness is Homemade. You can find it on Amazon, and the link is in the description box. We're also doing a newsletter, so please join us on our newsletter, link in the description box as well. Thanks for subscribing and liking the video, and I will see you guys all again next time.